yes. Here we are. Têkkel Thursday, Têkkel Live. And on the back of a Springbok series win, we greet you from our Têkkel studios. Good evening, Alberic. Nice to have you again, as always, on time. Springboks certainly, they did they did the job, and we're certainly very, very happy to speak to our fans after a Springbok series win.
Lekker, yeah, good to be back. It's Têkkel Thursday, guys. Yeah, it's been a brilliant weekend for us as South African supporters. Not so well if you were All Black supporter, and we're going to chat about that a bit later. But yeah, very, very happy with the result. Yeah, not the all-round performance, but we'll take a win nonetheless. Hoe dinge jou kant?
Ja, altyd lekker. It's amper alweer naweek en vir hulle wat nou net weer een van ons grootste ondersteuners vir hulle goeienaand. Baie welkom weer eens by die Têkkel Talk Show. En 'n spesiale goeienaand aan almal aanlyn. Is altyd lekker om met julle te gesels en dis weer 'n warm episode. Ek sien op die lyn het dit sommer goed gegaan. Ongelukkig die All Blacks soos Alberic aangeraak het. Ons sal later in diepte daaroor gesels. Gaan ons mening lig oor die All Blacks 'n series verloor, 'n reeks losing in hul tuisland. Dit is iets wat ek lanklaas gesien het, Alberic. Jy weet, Ierland oor die jare het die All Blacks lekker skrik gemaak, maar wie sou kon dink, en ons insluitend, dat Ierland die reeks sou wen teen Nieu-Seeland. Miskien moet ons gou net vinnig daaroor gesels. Dit was ek as 'n All Blacks ondersteuner was dit nie te verwag nie.
Yeah, no, it was totally awesome. I think we spoke last week. I was calling a All Black win. I thought the All Blacks were good enough to come back. They were, based on their track record. I mean, yes, they might have slipped up one game against the All Blacks, but they just know how. But I don't think this team has that essence. I think that, and whether it's from management down, coaching down, they don't have that X factor that individually the guys are great, but as a team, they just look like they're not gelling at the moment. And, you can possibly put it down to management. And, yeah, things are not looking good in New Zealand. And I think today we put out the note that said that, it is Razor, which is Scott Robertson. Will he be, is the talks that he will be, become looking at the head coach of New Zealand, or is there talks of just firing, or not firing, moving Sam Cane from possibly from the captain spot and maybe to the bench, maybe, I don't know. At the moment, yeah, he's just not the best player in New Zealand. He doesn't have the consistency, and injury prone, a lot of other stuff that goes with it. But in those moments when New Zealand needed leadership, he just kind of drifted, I think. And if you do want to look to somebody that you probably want to change, and I think captaincy is probably one of the key points that the All Blacks will probably make come this week.
Yeah, no, I think it's a big and a hot debate, and the interesting part now is timing. I think it's probably the worst time for one of the most deserving coaches. I think Robertson should have been there a lot earlier, but it's probably the worst time to just to use him now as a stopper. For I would say a bleeding All Black side will just do much worse than actually fixing the problem. I think they need to ride it out. I do believe that Foster's got the players. They have the players there. I think he's a utter poor selector. He's selecting the wrong players in the wrong positions, and he's getting it wrong. The combination's totally wrong. Himself, I think his predecessor, but himself created a problem by selecting a Sam Cane that, in my opinion, is not a first choice in this All Black side. I think by selecting him as a captain, you create three problems in your squad. One, you now need to move Adi Sevilla from his preferred position, which is flank, to number 8. And because Sam Cane playing towards the ball, we call it the fetcher role in the number 7 jersey. In South Africa, we call it the number 6. In New Zealand, it's the number 7. But it's the open side flanker. They now need to manufacture a abrasive, strong player, and they now pulling in a makeshift block to play at flank. it's just a total mess up
Yes, yeah.
in that forward pack. Then again, I believe that he's getting it wrong. We spoke last week, and it was proven again. The selection of Richie Mo'unga and Bowden Barrett, Foster is getting it wrong. I think he needs to really think about what he wants to achieve. Is there enough time to change coaches before the Rugby World Cup? I don't believe so, but we've seen New Zealand, 'n benoude kat maak, benoude spronge, en ek gaan nie verbaas wees as ons 'n paar veranderinge sien nie. As hulle begin by die kaptein, miskien is dit die regte keuse, maar vir wie gee jy die kapteins armband? Jy weet, is daar ou regtig in die squad wat die statuur van Sam Cane het in terme van leierskap? Dit is 'n groot probleem vir die All Blacks.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yes, the guys are definitely talking online. So guys, keep it coming. Further, obviously mentioning what we just said about Sam Cane. Is he the right guy for the job, for that position? But also the old cliche of you pick your captain first, and everybody goes around that. In this case, it doesn't really, it doesn't really work. And obviously, I mean, again, another comment from Kaizen007 saying good observation. Thoroughly, obviously responding to that again. Looking at what Sia has been doing, and I think Sia this weekend, and we'll get to the box in a minute. I think Sia had a fantastic game. I think the minute he puts on a box jersey, he plays RV skin. He can't play in a black jersey. A black jersey can not play in examinate weer. Ali Shark supporter. I can't even swap speel. I feel beter and blauw, but hey, that's a conversation for another day. But with that said, yes, it doesn't. Sam Cane doesn't have. I think that respect that. Audie Sevilla has been playing phenomenal, and for me, he's been a standout player throughout the series for the All Blacks. So man, moet jy in posisie speel. You can't have him playing out of position. And he didn't do a bad job. I mean, he played fantastically. But your first choices should be starting. I mean, there's mention of Brazil that should be coming to the team. There's a new kid. I can't remember. Yes. Those are young, talented. Players that can, make a difference. The All Blacks had that X factor. We know them. But is the combinations right? Might be concerned for the All Blacks. If you just look at their play, is their center combination. For me, I don't feel that there's individually Abili and Ioane could tear apart a backline. But do they play well together? Have they played enough together? Should they be bringing on Anton Leonard-Brown, which I think is injured? Should they be bringing on? I've always been a fan of Laumapi. And looking across the borders and bringing him, should they be bringing those players back and saying, look, guys, give it a shot? Because at the moment, let's be honest, they will be backs against the wall going against the All Blacks, and they'll have to throw anything they can at the box.
Yeah, no, for sure. And latching on to the center combination, it just shows the desperation now of Foster. I'm not sure because this week in the deciding test, it was well documented. I think on Wednesday already, it was clear that Bandiaki will start for the Irish. The Irish actually named their side slightly earlier than normal. So their side, it was documented that Bandiaki would replace Ringrose, who was concussed due to that head injury the week prior, and they would move Henshaw from 12 to 13. Now, I can't think of a worse selection at number 12 for the All Blacks than to bring in Havili in a game where the island has just declared that they will start Bandiaki. You bring in Havili from, I don't know from where, maybe injury, bring him in. Havili is not the strongest defender. Yeah. And if there's one thing that Bandiaki will do is test you defense. He's a very attacking player, and he's very physical. So I just don't understand that selection. Even if it's in Foster's mind, he had the idea, I want to bring in Havili. The moment Ireland revealed their team, he should have changed plan. He should have had a proper defender in the first channel who could at least try and navigate Bandiaki. And subsequent to that, the product of that was Bandiaki having a man of the match performance and a big influence in that game. We saw him run riot. We saw him just making breaks after breaks, gaining meters, getting over the gain line. And that obviously shows that Foster now is all over the place. He's losing focus, and he's going to be chasing his tail in South Africa. I'm not saying they're going to be a walkover. I don't believe so. It's catch-up rugby for the All Blacks to try and build momentum leading up to Rugby World Cup 2023.
Absolutely. We can never write the All Blacks off, but take nothing away from the Irish. I mean, their general play was phenomenal. I think their attacking play was great. Hulle daai manne soos skoolkinders hulle lyk op soos hy twee keer of twee try wat hulle gescoord in die 22. The All Blacks look lost. And I was watching obviously some of the talk shows this weekend. The guys were showing how the All Blacks defend. That kind of waiting defense instead of the rush defense that most teams have been at now over the last couple of years. The Fox have done it well. Irish is doing it brilliantly. The Irish do have a better, at this moment. I think when they transition to attack or when they do a proper set piece move, I think they do a fantastic job on. Hulle bamboozle man. This guys were literally. I would like to see them do that against the Box. I like that to be a good I think test to see where our defense is at. And then the other concern was, we spoke about it also, in between in the week as well, is Richie Mo'unga. Why didn't they not start Richie Mo'unga on 10? A classic fly-off, a great fly-off in my opinion. In a game like this, I would have started him making, you'll be able to put the ball in the right corners, and he's got the skills to break defenses as well. So, yeah, it's a lot of, again, to your point, mismatches in terms of selections. Feels all over the place. And I don't think, if I was a Razor, I wouldn't take this job right now, to be frank. You're gonna kind of, commit suicides on the rugby field if you're going to be putting your name in a hat in a team that's not gelling at this moment.
No, for sure. So our big question, obviously you can see it on screen, trouble in New Zealand with a question mark. Is daar moeilikheid in New Zealandse rugby? Is dit rede vir kommer? Ek dink dit is rede vir kommer. Ek dink van my persoonlike opinie dink ek nie dit is baie moeilik om reg te maak nie. Ek dink is 'n kwessie van refocus, maak die harde besluite, kry die regte manne in die starting line-up en miskien dan sal die All Blacks weer daai krag wees. Maar as daar All Blacks supporters of enige rugby ondersteuners, gee vir ons jou comments. Ons gaan nog later inloer by al die results, internasionale results, en dan gaan ons praat oor die Springbokke se fantastiese wedstryd in Kaapstad teen Wallis. Clayton Smith wat net sê die Bokke se forwards, en ek wil eintlik sy comment wil ek hou tot later toe, want ek gaan 'n pluimpie vir Jacques Nienaber en meer spesifiek vir Dion Davids gee met die manier hoe die Springbokke se voorspelers op die oomblik speel. Maar vir daai New Zealand supporters, ek weet nie, daai pak voorspelers wat hulle tans het, ek dink nie hulle moet baie gerus slaap. Ek dink hulle backline met tye kan hulle, maar as hulle Suid-Afrika toe kom in 'n paar weke se tyd en jy kom met daai pak voorspelers, kan dit groot moeilikheid veroorsaak, in my opinie, teen een van die wêreld se heel beste pak voorspelers in die Springbokke. So laat hy comments kom, guys. Ons wil hoor van julle. Ons gaan later weer 'n bietjie rugby gesels, Alberry. Maar ons het natuurlik laasweek ietsie gespeel wat die mense se aandag getrek het, né? Ek sien nou op Facebook was daar taamlik kommentaar. Daar was 'n meneer wat probeer het met sy eie op sy eie akkoord, soos hulle sê, on own accord. He refabricated and remanufactured the intro of the Têkkel Talk Show. We played it on the show. We're going to play it to you quickly, and we have him online. We're going to chat with the man behind the voice. Let's just listen to this again. Manufactured by himself. His name is William Breintjies, and he sent this via our WhatsApp line. And this is very, very close to our actual intro tune. Listen to this. Welkom by die Têkkel Talk Show. As William Breintjies, dames en heren. Welcome to the Têkkel Talk Show, and it's just great having you here. And for those of you who couldn't put the voice to the face, there is the man of the moment, William Breintjies. Ja, zie. Jy seker VIP nou op die Oblagava jy bly, né?
That was so surreal now, hearing it actually played back to me, It's quite impressive, I must say.
Ek dink amper ons hy het meer views gekry as sommige ander video's sommige van die celebrities se interviews. So yeah, well done, William. That's fantastic, man. Well done, man.
Oh, look, for something that started just as me having a chat on the Têkkel WhatsApp line. At the moment, I was chatting to myself there for a moment, just saying, hi, how are you guys doing? So I just decided to drop that bomb there, and it just snowballed from there.
No, for sure. And I think, where did you get your inspiration from? Because I assume you tune in weekly, or maybe you are a regular viewer. You don't comment a lot. I see now and then there's comments coming through, but I would assume you tune in weekly, and that jingle just stuck in your head, and you decided to just go for the jugular and make it your own.
Yeah, look, it was a very organic process. Like, we normally tune in early because you have to reserve the TV here in this house. So you're like stuck there in the waiting room waiting for that jingle to come on, and then in your mind you're like repeating it. And then I just decided to drop the bomb. I don't know what happened from this. So it got posted, and I've been inundated with requests from people just saying, Willem, los ene man, los ene hier.
No, I think we're gonna wait. Kyk soos vir hulle natuurlik wat ek sê, dit brilliant work wat jy daar doen. So ons wil net van ons kant af, wil ons jou sê brilliant man. Dit is, ek dink as ons kyk na die Facebook comments, daar's 'n klomp mense wat gesê het hulle dink is on-tune. Sê gou vir my, het jy enige musiek agtergrond, want ek kan sien jy kan 'n noot hou, of is dit net kom dit net natuurlik wanneer vir jou om net iets te kan naboot so goed soos jy het gedoen het?
Yeah, you look, it's all very natural. I mean, we all have that in ourselves. I mean, if you're bored for long enough, you will get a way to entertain yourself. Maar ek moet sê, die jingle vir alles is 'n baie catchy tune. Ek weet, ek sit baie keer as ek net so werk, as sit ook net it's that fat bass, that slap bass that gets you, and it's what keeps the people listening to that sound bites probably. Yeah.
No, for sure. William, you obviously you're a huge rugby fan. We know that because you are one of the guys that normally send us fan mail, and you had the privilege. You were one of the very, very few lucky enough to go to the live game between the Springboks and Wales.
Oh my God.
Probably the very first time I saw that stadium as full as it was.
What experience, it was my first international rugby game, my first time watching the Springboks. From the national anthem, you could feel that there's just a different vibe at Cape Town Stadium. It was a pleasure for me singing the national anthem, Mosia Kolisi and all the Springboks. A first for me, and that's a special occasion on its own. But besides from all the people stopping me at the stadium, are you that guy? Are you that guy from Têkkel? It was an awesome experience. Awesome.
Brilliant. And then obviously a memorable one. A memorable one because Eben Etzebeth running on in his 100th game, Bongi and Benambi coming out in his 50th game. I think it was just an event of note. It just was something else. Yeah, Barrick, we normally go to the IRB Rugby Sevens, but Saturday's one, it was something different to see that stadium in full performance, what it can do when it is really full, and how it can bring the gears. It was just something
phenomenal.
Out of this world.
No, exactly. I think, and we always talk about how Newlands is and how Newlands was, and in terms of the gears, I think that stadium just has a way of feeling like a huge arena. You would no matter where you sit, al jy 80 rand betaal en jy sit daar bo met 'n verkyker in die hoek. You just feel immersed in that game, and I think the fans brought it, the people brought it. There was no incidents of any kind of misbehavior, anything like that. I think people really just look forward to having rugby live again, and just being part of the gears. William, with that said, you also sent us a video as well, and I want to play that, which I think was phenomenal. Guys, if you haven't seen William really in action, this is his part-time job besides singing.
En dis Andre Pollard wat aanlê vir die pale. Dis die Bokke wat voortloop 15 punte teenoor 8 hier op 'n volgebak DHL Stormers. Hy wagte, hy dragting. Hy stors deur die pale. Andre Pollard jou toring. Andre Pollard jou toring. En dit is 17 punte teenoor 8.
Yeah, so super sport. Surely, if you're looking for commentators, especially on radio, I can just feel myself in my vehicle, late for a rugby game, rushing it out. His name is William Reintjes, and if you can just see, it's an absolute entertaining guy. And again, you know, getting into that persona, it almost sounded like one of those Afrikaans commentators. On radio, commentating a Griquas game on a Saturday early afternoon. Hy was deur die pale. Wat 'n lengte. Oh, dat was mooi. But actually, net jouself ingeleef, William. It was certainly a memorable moment, and you had. I see you were dead square behind the poles. Good view with that 100 kick, and you couldn't help yourself but getting into commentary yourself.
Yeah, very premeditated. I wanted to sit behind the post just to do that. I thought it would be cool to send something like that into Têkkel. So it was a bit of a battle getting two seats next to each other. But you could literally feel the fire every time the box scored points because of those flames that went off. But it was awesome. It was awesome. I would definitely recommend to anyone who hasn't been to the stadium or hasn't seen the box, just go. Yeah. Worry about the rest later.
William, and with that said, I mean, we heard your singing talents. What now for William Reintjes? Do you quit your day job and you go into singing full time? What's next?
Look, it's been a roller coaster ride since the posting of that clip. So what we just try to take it a step at a time. Just take everything in our stride. Luckily, I'm surrounded with a lot of people so I keep my feet on the ground. I just try to take everything as it comes. But we certainly open for anything. Even if it's weddings or stuff like that, guys, we need an intro. I'm there. Just contact me.
No, and obviously, William, we've got another comment there from Maxwin. Maxwin saying, Robertson, ek dink William moet die commentator wees vir die Wesbank en Lilies Derby vir die tweede ronde. Definitief goeie. So as our Evansdale ouens is Maxwin wat daar sê, as our ouens is buitekant vir hy derby, ons weet Klap Rugby Live van die ouens van Klap Rugby Live tune ook sommige tye in na die Têkkel Talk Show of manne, as jy 'n kommentator soek, hier is 'n man wat sy storie ken, nie net rugby ken nie, passionate, so sekerlik 'n man wat ons moet verder voer in ons, en because mense moet betaal om te luister na ou soos William Reintjes. Definitief, Alberry.
No, for sure. I mean,
I'm looking forward to this journey. I'm looking forward to it.
Look, I need just his professionalism. I mean, he takes it in his stride. You know, he's very humbled about it. Doesn't, you know, he just seems like he has everything. You know, a top flight singer would be expected of. So well done, William. Yeah, great, fantastic. Our first big singer on the show.
No, and then obviously with that being said, you know, we're running slightly out of time, but it's just an honor, William, from our side. Just an honor and a pleasure. It seems to be, is it load shedding? Load shedding. William, are you there?
Sorry.
It seems to be. Yay!
Don't take that.
Yeah.
Sorry. All the viewers guys are disappointed now.
No, it's fine. It's absolutely classic. William, absolutely brilliant having you on the Têkkel Talk Show. So just before all of your guests run out, thanks for coming out, and we certainly going to hear much more from you on the Têkkel Talk Show, and hopefully we'll see you on TV, on radio in the near foreseen future when you do your thing in commentating or singing. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But you know, we got him on just an entertaining guy.
My goodness gracious. Yeah, look. Ja, ek sê die man nooi vir enige party yesterday. I mean, die man is high value entertainment, man. So we have to put him on the show. any party, guys, please, let us know if you are looking for someone to spice it up, or sing at your party, or keep the lights on, even if it's load shedding. William is your man.
No, for sure. What we knew before this episode was obviously that he can mimic or manufacture jingles, because he actually went out and manufactured his own self-made Têkkel Talk Show intro jingle. But what we learned now is he's a commentator as well. It actually sounded like the TV was on mute and there was an Afrikaans commentator really commentating that kick from Andre Pollard. I'm really, really impressed by this. No, it's just a great pleasure, Alberic, man, and it's good to have a guy like William, one of our normal viewers. He normally watches Têkkel Talk Show, but he's getting into the groove, and who knows, perhaps one day we can get him also as an anchor of the show, as a guest anchor, or even a guest presenter of the show, because he is certainly a very entertaining guy. Clayton Smith daar wat ook lyk hy rol soos hy lag vir William Breintjies. Ek hoop net die load shedding, of ek hoop hy het krag gekoop. Dit lyk my sy units het uitgegaan, of weet jy of dit load shedding
was. I think it's load shedding schedule, guys. I think Eskom is we can't blame Eskom for everything. I mean, let's be But yeah, look, to his point and what he spoke about, I mean, Saturday was fun. I mean, we were there and just play a quick clip to show what went down on Saturday. We were there. I mean, we obviously spoke to a few people before the game. It's a phenomenal atmosphere, and check this clip out and let us know what you guys think.
And does Andre Pollard?
That is the wrong clip. That
is William Breintjies, Andre Pollard.
And William Breintjies.
Andre Pollard wat hom aanlei. En hy's hoor deur die bal.
But with that said, I think it's it was just a massive opportunity for South Africa to show what they were about, and coming together. We spoke about how many green jerseys there were. It was a lot of Welsh supporters also. So sorry, I've just got the word now. Our technical guy said that the clip is ready to play. So let's check this one out.
Let's have a sneak peek as what we experienced for sure.
Awesome. Yes. Loved it.
Awesome. And a special thanks to you and the cameraman that really put those together. That is our own footage. We were there. And I've been to many a test match at Newlands. I had the privilege to go to a test match at Ellis Park. I went to a test match between the Springboks and the All Blacks at Loftus Versfeld. But this one, very first international test match for me at the Cape Town Stadium after attending many years of the IRB series. This is absolutely an event that took my breath away. All the side shows apart, the city of Cape Town, the SA Rugby, Western Province Rugby, all the event participants from EMS too, they just came out and made it happen. It was absolutely, by far, the best atmosphere at a test match that I've experienced in my life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The theatrics around it, the fireworks, the impies coming out, it just created such an awesome experience from when the test matches obviously started up in is it Loftus, I think. You could feel that, and it just, I think, culminated in in Cape Town, and obviously that big 100 game for Eben, and obviously for Bongi coming out in his 50th. So yeah, it's just it's great to see. It's great to feel that vibe again. It's great to experience it, and I think I was fortunate. We were together as well. We were some friends as well, and I had my son with me on the day, and it was his first game, and he really enjoyed it. And I'm hoping he won't forget it as well. So yeah, it's I'm hoping there'll be more games coming up. Do we have any Bok games left this year? Not in Cape Town.
No, not in Cape Town. Not in Cape Town.
No.
But now is Australia not coming here? I'm not sure. We must just check. I don't think so. I don't think so. No,
Australia. We're playing Australia in Australia 2 games, and All Blacks are playing up in I think Nelspruit and Ellis Park. Yeah. So but yeah, next year, guys, Boks will be back.
No, for sure.
You need to go check it out. Brilliant.
Yeah, we were a bit unsure. We said I think we spoke in the car on our way to the field. We spoke about the pre-braai and let's call it the grote skier effect at Newlands, where we park the vehicles and we get to know each other. A lot of guys would know each other before heading out to the stadium, and then that few 100 meters walk to Newlands. That is what we're going to miss. Newlands will still have a special place in our heart. We were unsure about the pre-match vibe at the Cape Town Stadium for a test match. We were there for many for the URC, and we were there for the IRB rugby sevens. But we were unsure what was going to happen. But I can tell you, from getting parking, obviously a little bit of a schlep getting into city with the traffic. That's absolutely normal on any given day, with the Boks play Wales or not. You're going to taxi into Cape Town on a working day. But pre-match, it was the vibe. Ek praat nog eens van dat ons in die stadium gegaan het. Just from Greenpoint, the people greeting one another and taking that fan walk, getting in, painting the faces of the kids. And then obviously us having the interviews with people, it just works. It just works 100% brilliantly. And the scenic views I saw on TV of the city lights on with this massive stadium, Barry, at night, at the end when the game, at the end of the game when they had that aerial shot, it is by far certainly one of the most scenic stadiums in the world, if not number one. Absolutely,
and with that said, also, I mean, we had one of our regulars also that sent in some Têkkel Bell also, and we asked you guys send us your pictures, and one of it came in from Furlough. Obviously Furlough in being at the game, just sending his picture as to him being there and being present with some friends over there at the stadium, and it's just amazing. And obviously he was privileged. He said in this message he was privileged to be with his first sports coach and role model, Denna Koopman. And he also mentioned that Denna being an epitome of humility and selflessness. So well done. And he also said the wonderful support of the Players Fund also helped him to get there, and that's Aisha that's with him. That's fantastic to see. It's good to see Furlough being able to get to such an important game. I mean, Furlough lives in Malmesbury, and with the commute into Cape Town and also the traffic, it's such a big one, but he was able to make it. And the great thing about the city of Cape Town's Cape Town Stadium's facility is that wheelchair access is great. I mean, the stadium is so well done. I mean, we can just Newlands was just very hectic for a lot of people, not only for parking, but people that couldn't always get there easily. Like, for example, in wheelchairs, it was always difficult. But yeah, Cape Town Stadium, hats off. They are one of a truly international stadium. However, Heini, hulle moet die gras gaan oorplant. Definitief. Ons kan nie internasionale game kyk hier en die manne sukkel om but I'm sure the Boks would have scrummed the Welsh over and over, but yeah, the grass is not that great at the moment, eh?
Ja, nee, definitief die gras natuurlik die oorspronklike plan vir hierdie tipe sport nie. Maar ek dink oor die jare it's clear,
hy gaan plan vir die bokpakkie.
Ja, nee, ek dink is gras in die wêreld wat geplant is vir die bokpakkie. Maar ons moet onthou, daar speel nou al 'n paar jaar wat ons rugby speel op die surface. Ons gaan nie binnekort sommer weer 'n internasionale sokkerwedstryd van formaat in die stadion sien nie. Ek dink dit is die nuwe tuiste van die Stormers rugby. Iets moet gebeur. Ek kan nie sien dat hy op 'n vlakte wanneer daar meer rugby op hom gaan speel dat hy gaan hou nie. Maar dit is 'n probleem natuurlik, 'n lekker kopseer en 'n lekker gestryery tussen VP rugby en die stad Kaapstad wat die eienaars is om te besluit wie daai geldjie gaan uithaal om daai rugby surface, kom ons noem dit 'n rugby surface wat is 'n rugbyveld nou, om die Cape Town Stadium se surface te laat oordoen. Having said that, Alberic, just a brief chat about the rugby. The Springboks came out and they were very, very dominant in this game. I think in the first half, especially, they should have had more points. Yes, they scored a late maul try from Bongi Mbonambe right on halftime, but they were really setting up camp in the Welsh half, actually getting into the Welsh 22 at free will, not able to put points on the board at every attacking chance, but they should have been ahead much further, in my opinion, at the halftime break.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think the Welsh they were just hanging on a thread. I think we spoke about them being 3-0, and in all respect, they won, the second test fair and square. With the strongest team, I don't think they would have won the all three tests. Let's be honest, if all three, and there's always a hindsight. We always talk about hindsight, and the fact that the box played, made a whole host of changes. We spoke about it last week. It was clear to see these guys are best players on the field as a combination. Not all of them are necessarily all the best, but as a team, they collectively play so well. I mean, this team has been, from Rassie to Jacques, they've been carried before 2018-2019, up until now. They play together. They know each other. Their combinations know each other. They work well system. The bomb squad coming up onto the field, they work well. There's no doubt about it. We don't even question hoekom kom jy voor af halftime. As like this, we understand. Jacques, you have a plan. It's fine. We trust.
There's a plan.
There's a plan, and it werk vrucht af. I mean, the fact that you have a guy like Malcolm Moss coming up from the bench and wreaking havoc after Bongi's done that. It just shows what we have as our first squad of players, our first 23 players that can play. On the fringes, you have a lot of players coming, the Alrich Lows, the Evan Rooses, Curtly, that I think will possibly get a chance going into the All Black test. Those players should be blooded in, I think, not as wholesale changes. But you know what? Let's throw a test at Curtly. I think he's showed that he can do it. For the Bulls, and we'll talk about that in a second. But looking towards the Rugby Championship, let's give those guys a go. I think it's time that we show the faith in those young players. Brent Andrews saying die pocket, die platform gelend, we gebruik so die All Blacks, om die All Blacks te wen, druk en nogmaals druk. Daar van 'n taal, dan val hulle weer af.
Good point. Good point, and you've mentioned something very, very interesting, and I just want to add to what you are saying. We know that Cheslin Colby, it seems to me, it's slightly a longer term injury than what we saw on the field. I initially thought it was a bit of a concussion. We know, in fact, that incident happened right in front of us. It seems to me he bumped his head on the hip or on the knee of the number 8 of Wales, just slightly getting his head on the wrong side. And I think I told you this is just a little bit of concussion. He's gonna go for a check back when he'll be back, and only to hear late after the game that it seems to me that he has a fractured jaw. Now that will put him out for some time. To getting back to your point, do you go for a like substitution? Because if you do go for a like substitution, obviously Kurt Lee, he should walk into that side. I think he's got all the attributes. Kaysen there also, he's just asking where's Sapoon Corsi, who used to be the number 3 choice. He is injured, He used to be the out and out third choice winger, but now it's probably going to be between Kurt Lee and Fassi. I think Fassi has now been a makeshift wing. I just want to mention an interesting observation. With Cheslin Colby's injury, I was quite taken aback with what transpired in the Springbok backline. Valerie Leroux came on. He moved to fullback. They moved Damian Willemse to inside center. They moved Damien de Allende from 12 to 13, and they moved Lucanio Am from 13 to 14. So the only two players that actually stuck to their position was the scrum half, who was Jaden Hendrikse, and then Andre Pollard. Obviously, the Mapimpi and staying out on the wing, but still it worked. I need to speak about the risk of this. This is Wales in your home ground. If this happens in a semi-final of a Rugby World Cup, Damian Willemse obviously the savior of all, because they've now worked out all the situations. Because I sat there imagining this happens in a World Cup final or World Cup semi-finals. Cheslin Kobe gets injured. They get Willie on. Now they reshuffle the whole backline. I mean, they moved everybody from the position they were originally selected, and Damian Willemse being able. And I thought to myself, if this is a Rugby World Cup final, Andre Pollard gets injured. Does Kwagga now move to the backline? Because Damian Willemse or Willie Leroux, and I think it's going to be Damian moving to flyer, taking over the reins, and Kwagga Smith needs to then come onto the field and take any of the other positions. You're not going to exploit Faf de Klerk. Plek weet ek of Faf kan scrum half speel. So you're not going to put him in any of the other positions apart from playing scrum half. So that is the slight risk, and it was pointed out on Saturday. It worked well because we probably have one of the best bowlers in world rugby. Damian Willemse is slowly but surely getting into his stride. And he's probably the kingpin for us. But if you start with him, Yalberry, the risk is there. Yeah. Because what if he gets injured first? And now all of a sudden you get Willie on, and then your flyer gets a knock. It's just a big if. And that 6-2 split, I think that is the big worry for Ninaber going into Rugby World Cup.
No, 100%, Heine. I think, when especially talking about Willie, we saw Willie opkom, and wys Willie's net. If somebody man say, "Gaan staan jou plek," and he comes with that. And let's also give it to Willie. I think, we've written him off before the season.
He must have beaten games.
But the last few games is really.
Miskien as a substitution.
You know what I'm saying? But I think he's, I think with that move, him coming up so early in the game, it changed the whole. Our concern was it's going to change the dynamic of the plans there. Now Lucanio, which is probably one of the best, probably the best center in the world at the moment, has to move now to wing. You're already losing. You verloor Angel, and to have that move so early in the game was worrying. I think Willie was one spot. Willie was caught on the outside. If Willie had to play wing, how would Willie have been caught? I think they passed the ball wide, and the guy slipped, and Willie slipped, and the other wing went. So it's all those iffy situations that arises when you have a 6-2 split. If one of those players, beside, like you mentioned, that Damon goes off, can you make that change in the team? It showed on Saturday that we can do it. But against the All Blacks, against the Wallaby, against the Irish team and the French team, I don't know. It remains to be seen. I think we're going to have to test that going into. We've got enough games going into the end of the year to say, listen, guys, look, we want to win the Rugby Championship. We want to make sure we win the end of year tour, and put on a marker. We're playing the French. We're playing Irish, and apparently today the Irish game is already sold out already. So I think that's going to be a main tester for us. We need to play our best team, but also in this Rugby Championship, let's bring in a few younger players. My big concern is what happens with Am. If Am was going to get injured, yes, you can shift, Damien into center position for that, but what kind of impact will that have on the rest of the game? And I think that's the risk of that 6-2 split. It's just. Yeah, we've always spoken about it's worked so far.
It will work.
It's going to be. We have to see against the All Blacks and the Wallabies if that's going to be my big test. And with all due respect to the All Blacks, and I'm jumping a bit, Tiny, is the fact that the Wallaby game was for me going to be a big one. How are we going to fare against in Australia? Because that's always the one that we kind of slip out. No, we will win the Wallabies, and it's shown that we don't have a good record. Playing in Australia, but this is a time to blood those youngsters, coming into the fore. Clayton Smith saying, "Willie's experience is goeie ding in die squad." 100%. I think that kind of experience you could definitely see when he came onto the field. Us being there on the field, you could see Willie was bringing that direction.
Yeah.
He might not have necessarily the pace like he used to have, but Willie knew exactly. You could see what he was bringing to the field. And that bit of X factor that we need. In a big situation game like against the All Blacks or Wallabies is what Willie brings.
Yeah, and if we're going to go with the desired combination in terms of 6-2 and if we know obviously Jacques Nienaber along with Dion and Sticks, they would know if the number one and number two at number 15 is Willie Leroux and Damian Willemse, the preferred split would probably be Willie starting and Damian coming off the bench. As much as we want Damian Willemse to start the game because he is in the form of his life, bubbling with confidence, the fact that you have Damian Willemse on the bench will give Jacques Nienaber so much. I would say he would be very calm. He would be very calm as a coach if he goes with the 6-2 split because he knows he's got a guy on the bench. Whatever situation comes, he's got a guy like Damian Willemse, and it's going to be a like-for-like substitution. So, which means if Andre gets injured, Damian comes on. If the center gets injured, Damian comes on. If the wingers get injured, it's a straight substitution. He doesn't disrupt any momentum. With Willie being on the bench, and you've mentioned perhaps as Willie is up, but then we must understand it's gonna because Willie needs to play. If Andre stays at 10, Willie needs to play 15. And the question was, and we spoke to some of the experts, and we asked, why would they do that? Why would they reshuffle when they could have just moved Willie to the wing? And the answer was that both Louis Rees-Zammit or Josh Adams would have had a field afternoon with Willie Leroux having only 4 gears going forward against a guy that that really has they can really turn on the afterburners. And when we spoke about that, it actually made sense because we saw. I think you mentioned one time we had Willie 1-on-1, and it was touch and go. You could just see him really scrambling to get on the outside.
Yeah, no, 100%, and I think that's what we should be looking at is again bringing blood in young. I think that's going to be my theme for this week is to say, listen, guys, we need to blood players in and just be prepared for the fact that the All Blacks they're coming with the opportunity to backs against the wall and got nothing to lose. And who else better than to show yourself against the world champions? And if they do, they're gonna make a big statement to say that look, this is where we are, and we're here to not just to take it on the chin. But anyway, let's look at a few results quickly, just bearing in mind that there was other games also across the world, and these are all the results. And there'll be one result that you guys will be wondering why we have it on there, but we'll speak about it in a second. There you have it: New Zealand losing against Ireland in the third test. The Aussies, the Wallabies, going down to England. As one game that I don't really care who won that game, but anyway. And then also obviously the South Africans showing the battle against the Welsh. Argentina, backing up the box performance and keeping the Southern Hemisphere on the winning side with the win against Scotland. Dying minutes of the game, great try, scored in the corner. So great game to see. And then also this is I think second tier, if I'm not mistaken. The game USA versus Chile. And the reason why we're showing this score, which is so pivotal, is the fact that the USA have been playing rugby for top level rugby for a while now. They've been in a few World Cups, etc. But to lose against Chile and the possibilities, the talks are that they'll be hosting probably the World Cup after France. If they can't qualify for a World Cup, that does throw a spanner in the works for World Rugby because with the fact that they couldn't qualify doesn't bode well. But all hats off to Chile. They came out to nowhere against technically their bigger opponent based on their history, and well done to Chile.
Didn't watch the game, but that certainly upset in my opinion. I would have, if I read that fixture before seeing the score, I would have easily given USA at least a victory by 15 or more. So that's a major upset. And then I just I think just before I speak about about the Scottish game, I just want to say I need to again say well done to Eddie Jones and the English side.
Oh yes.
A few weeks ago we said I don't think it was a convincing performance, but I think to beat Australia in Australia, um,
Yeah.
it really deserves mention. It's not a bad Australian team. It's not a well-oiled English side, but a series victory nonetheless. And then in a losing course, we just need to say to Scotland, wow, what a performance. Unfortunately, it was in the 80th minute, I think, the winger getting over in the corner with I wouldn't say second to spare. It was actually in injury time to seal the deal for Argentina. Again, a lacquer weekend of Test rugby, Alberic, and we're looking forward now to the rugby championships. I think it should be a tougher challenge for the Springboks in so many ways. Not only traditionally because they're playing the traditional rivals, but I think let's be honest. The Springboks, they were not all firing on all cylinders against Wales. I think Wales were also a bit average in some aspects. There are certainly some aspects of the Springbok game that needs to improve, but it's going to be important for all teams, New Zealand, Australia, including those two teams, to get some momentum and get the psychological edge on their counterparts. I think, especially looking at the All Black games in South Africa, Foster and the team would, if they bounce back in those two games and really come out and knock one of the big time favorites for the IRB Rugby World Cup, and they win us twice in South Africa, all of a sudden you have the supporters with their tails up, and you have the All Blacks again where they need to be. I had a proper laugh when they said the All Blacks are not on social media this week. Having said anything, that's what it is. It is, as die All Blacks verloor, is dit 'n publieke holiday week lyk dit aan New Zealand. Dit is doodstil. Ek hou daarvan. En ons hoop ons kan hulle stil hou.
Maar die eerste oud gepraat is die CEO wat gesê het, but they have to go into investigation as to why they lost. It was just, I think, a very poor statement from the CEO. I think it's in those kind of moments. I mean, the Boks have been there. We've been through that. So as All Black supporters, give us Bok fans a call. We'll give you some tips on how to go through, those who say, "Hey, Mariara." Yeah. Look, the All Blacks have the knack of doing it for one season, and then next year they're back up and running. So I think this is temporary. They've got the quality to bounce back. We know that. But it's just when your CEO of your national rugby association doesn't give the support and say, listen guys, we took on the chin, well done to the Irish, we have to go back to the drawing board, then it's a bad one. Not to have that support, but it's trouble in New Zealand, and let's hope they will be back. I mean, we always like a big good old fashioned game against the old foes.
No, for sure. Before we wrap it up, we need to also send a shout out and a word of congrats to Mark Boucher and the Proteas. They start off the series against England very, very well with a convincing victory against England. I think it's a good start. Obviously, we are not the favorites to win the series there, but a brilliant start. And let's hope the guys can keep that momentum and really start getting some results. It's been a bit of an iffy few years for the Proteas, especially under Mark Boucher. But let's hope that they, like they are in the test now, they can really get that ranking up. So, guys, if you're listening, cricket fans, let's get behind the Proteas and hope that they can also take that series in England. Alberic, before we greet, we have an interesting competition coming up.
Yes, guys. This season we'll be again giving out our rugby jerseys, and this year, obviously, with the rugby championship coming up, we encourage you guys to send us your picks. At the end of the season, we'll obviously have it up, and you fans can vote for the best jersey, and then also the best picture sent in, and then also with the rugby championship coming up, Aini, we will be starting a Super Group pool, and then you're welcome to join in, take up a challenge against all of us that has been on there from last season. We'll be sending invites to the same people that was there last year, and join in. You can win yourself a personalized Têkkel jersey.
No, for sure. And for those of you who have already won that competition, you can certainly tell those online how beautiful it looks. And you would probably have seen myself in Alberic being donned in the sublimated Têkkel Talk Show rugby jersey before. We have it on as we speak. But go onto our Facebook page. We had this rugby jersey on few occasions. Really a work of art. And thank you also to the guys behind the scenes for designing this beautiful rugby jersey. On that note, Alberic, we're hoping that we will be somewhere up the log when it comes to the Super Brew. Ons het allemaal laatst aan ons eie pool en pak of wat. Ek kies 'n paar rugby kenners wat die game kyk en die Têkkel Talk Show kyk. So a week before the Rugby Championship, we're launching that Super Brew pool of the Têkkel Talk Show again. We will obviously share those details on our episodes, and we will also send it on our various social media platforms. Join us en kom ons kyk wie die rugby kenner is daar buitekant en wie gaan wegstap met 'n groot prys om 'n Têkkel Talk Show sublimated rugby jersey en 'n gift pack van Têkkel Talk Show te ontvang. Moenie vergeet om te subscribe nie. As van die ouens wat sê, ons kry nie notifications meer dat julle show gaan obviously die rede hoekom jy notification kry nie, jy moet subscribe. Ons is op YouTube en nie meer op Facebookie. So subscribe op ons YouTube channel. En Daniel Berrick het ons natuurlik 'n WhatsApp lyn wat beman word weekliks en dit is hoe William en sy trawante daai wonderlike voice notes en dis meer aan ons stuur. Sy hom daar Têkkel Chat se WhatsApp lyn 0652188511 0652188511 'n videoetjie, 'n voice note, enige lieflike prentjie wat te doen het met kultuur, sport, enige aksie aan daardie kant of al nooi jy net vir ons na een van jou events toe, ons is bereid om uit te steek daar by jou event en 'n bietjie blootstelling te gee. So van ons af by die Têkkel Talk Show, ja, Berrick, was lekker om te gesels en seker dat ons volgende week selfde tyd, selfde plek hier gaan wees met nog 'n interessante gas hier op ons show. Dit lekker om met jou te gesels en groete daar vir die mense in die stad. Tot dan. Goed gaan.